Halong Bay, the legend of the descending dragon. Before it had a name known to the world, it had a legend, a story whispered on the winds and carried by the tides. They say that when a young Vietnamese nation was threatened by invaders from the sea, the Jade Emperor, the highest of gods, did not send an army. He sent a mother, a dragon. This celestial family descended to protect the Vietnamese people, spitting not fire, but countless jewels, jades, and emeralds from their mouths. These divine gems solidified in the sea, forming thousands of islands and islets, a jagged, impenetrable wall that shattered the enemy fleet. After the victory, the dragons chose to stay, forever watching over the land they had saved. The place where the mother dragon landed became known as Ha Long, the Bay of the Descending Dragon. The waters where her children settled became Bai Tu Long Bay, and the spot where their tails thrashed the waves in play is now the Bac Long Vi Peninsula. It's a story that gives this landscape its soul. But while myth gives Ha Long Bay its soul, it is science and global consensus that give it its status. This is a place so extraordinary, so universally significant, that the world has tried not once, not twice, but 3 times to capture its essence. This journey of understanding began in 1994. Struck by its sheer otherworldly beauty, UNESCO first inscribed Ha Long Bay on its World Heritage List for its outstanding aesthetic value. It was a recognition of the bay as a place of exceptional natural beauty and superlative natural phenomena, making it Vietnam's very first natural World Heritage Site. This was the world falling in love at first sight, but love often leads to a desire for deeper understanding. In the year 2000, UNESCO recognized the bay a second time, this time for its profound geological and geomorphological value. The world was no longer just admiring a pretty picture, it was acknowledging a 500 million-year-old story written in stone. A story of how our planet shapes and is shaped by time itself. And the story continues to evolve. Most recently, in 2023, the recognition was expanded yet again. The site grew to include the neighboring Cat Ba archipelago, creating Vietnam's first interprovincial World Heritage Site. This final act acknowledged that the bay's beauty and its geology are the foundation for something even more precious, a vibrant, interconnected, and fragile web of life. The combined protected area now spans a colossal 65,650 hectares, embracing 1,133 islands in a single magnificent embrace. So, how do you create a masterpiece worthy of both gods and scientists? It takes time, a lot of time, 500 million years to be exact. And our story starts when this entire landscape was just a quiet, ancient seabed. The 500 million year story, how to build a masterpiece. The first chapter of Ha Long Bay's creation story is one of immense patience. Over 500 million years ago, this region was not a bay, but a warm, shallow sea. For a staggering 100 million years, during what geologists call the Carboniferous and Permian periods, the shells and skeletons of countless marine creatures settled on the ocean floor, compacting under their own weight. They built up a colossal blanket of limestone, more than 1,000 meters thick. Then, the earth stirred. Tectonic forces, moving with unimaginable power, began a slow grinding uplift, pushing this immense limestone platform out of the sea and into the air for the first time. And this is where the real artistry began. Many imagine the sea carved these islands from scratch, but the truth is far more dramatic. For millions of years, nature worked on its sculpture in secret, on dry land. The artist's tool? Rain. Now limestone is tough, but it has a secret weakness, slightly acidic rainwater. It's like a geological Achilles heel. Over millions of years, this gentle acid bath got to work. It seeped into cracks, dissolving the rock, carving fissures into chasms, and transforming a flat plain into a forest of stone towers. This process, called karstification, sculpted 2 signature forms you can see today. Feng Chong, dense clusters of conical peaks found on the larger islands, and Feng Lin, spectacular isolated towers that rise vertically from the landscape. Ha Long Bay isn't just an example of this. It is considered one of the most important and well-developed Feng Chong and Feng Lin karst fields in the world. For millennia, this was a terrestrial wonder. Only then did the sea make its grand entrance. During the last ice age, sea levels were much lower. But as the planet warmed and the ice melted, the sea rose and began to advance, invading this pre-carved landscape. It wasn't the primary sculptor, but the finishing artist, adding the final breathtaking touches. The sea flooded the valleys, turning them into the channels we navigate today, and isolating the stone towers as islands. It lapped against their bases, carving the distinctive marine notch, that undercut groove you see at the waterline. This constant undercutting is what maintains the dramatic, vertical cliffs of the Fenglin Towers, ensuring the landscape remains as spectacular as ever. But the sea didn't just work on the outside, it helped create a hidden world within. A journey into Ha Long Bay is incomplete without a journey into its underworld. And there is no better example than Sungsat Cave, or the Cave of Surprises. The name, first given by French explorers in 1901 as Grotte des Surprises, is perfect. You climb a series of stone steps to a small, unassuming opening in the cliff face. You duck inside and then, surprise. The cave opens into a colossal chamber, an underground opera house so vast it could hold over 1,000 people. But here, geology and mythology intertwine. Legend says this cave is where the great Vietnamese hero, Saint Giong, or Thanh Giong, prepared to ascend to the heavens after defeating foreign invaders. To protect the people from lingering demons, he left behind his great stone horse and a long sword. And if you look closely, your guide will point them out to you, immortalized in the dripping stone. A reminder that in Ha Long Bay, every rock tells a story. The Living Bay, a sanctuary of life. These ancient stones are not silent monuments. They are the foundation for one of Asia's most diverse tapestries of life. The very geological processes that created this landscape also engineered a series of unique interconnected worlds. Scientists have identified 7 distinct ecosystems thriving here, side by side. From the primary tropical rainforests clinging to the cliffs, to the dark and mysterious cave ecosystems, from the vital mangrove forests that line the coasts, to the bustling intertidal zones, the vibrant coral reefs, the soft-bottom seafloor, and the enigmatic saltwater lakes hidden within the islands. This complexity supports a staggering amount of life. The bay is a biological treasure chest, home to nearly 5,000 species of plants and animals. Its waters host over 300 species of fish, more than 500 types of bottom-dwelling creatures, and a kaleidoscope of 232 coral species. But the true magic of Ha Long lies in its secret laboratories, places where the unique geology has become an architect of evolution. The isolation of the cave systems, with their stable temperatures and lack of light, has created evolutionary crucibles. Here, scientists have discovered species found nowhere else on Earth, like the Ha Long eyelid gecko and the tiny blind cave loach, perfectly adapted to a life lived in perpetual darkness. Even more extraordinary are the hidden seas. Scattered throughout the archipelago are 138 saltwater lakes, known locally as Angs. These are sunken karst valleys, or delines, that were flooded by the rising sea but remain almost entirely enclosed by limestone cliffs. These isolated lakes, which account for about a third of all such formations in the world, are like natural test tubes, home to ancient and rare species that have evolved unique traits in their secluded environments. Yet, of all the creatures that call this place home, one stands as its most precious and imperiled guardian, the cat balangur. With its striking golden fur and white head, this is one of the rarest primates on the planet. Only 60 to 70 individuals remain in the wild, and their only habitat, the only place in the entire world they exist, is here, on the sheer limestone cliffs of the Cat Ba archipelago, now a protected part of the World Heritage Site. The cliffs that were their evolutionary cradle are now their last fortress against extinction. Thankfully, dedicated conservation groups, often supported by responsible local cruise companies, are working tirelessly to protect these langurs from poaching and ensure their survival for generations to come. The Human Saga, Echoes in the Karsts. For as long as these karsts have stood, humans have sought shelter in their shadows. The bay is not just a natural wonder, it is a massive, open-air museum of human history, with evidence of our ancestors dating back tens of thousands of years. Archaeologists have unearthed a story of successive ancient cultures. The earliest were the people of the Soy-Nu culture, who lived here as far back as 18,000 BC. They were coastal hunter-gatherers, their lives tied to the rhythm of the tides, leaving behind mounds of mountain and spring shells in caves like Tien Ong. They were followed by the Kai-Bio culture, and later the more advanced Neolithic Halong culture, who developed sophisticated stone tools and pottery, leaving their mark all across the bay. The very geography that provided a home for these early people would, centuries later, become a weapon, a key strategic asset in one of the most brilliant naval victories in history. In the 13th century, the mighty Mongol Empire under Kublai Khan was sweeping across Asia. In 1288, they launched their third invasion of Dai Viet, modern-day Vietnam, with a formidable fleet commanded by Admiral Omar, sailing towards the capital. But the Vietnamese commander, General Tren Hung Dao, had an intimate knowledge of this unique landscape. He knew the maze-like channels, the hidden coves, and most importantly, the powerful, predictable tides of the Baec Dung River estuary, a gateway near Ha Long Bay. He devised a plan of pure genius. Under the cover of darkness, his soldiers planted massive, iron-tipped wooden stakes into the riverbed, invisible at high tide. As planned, a small Vietnamese fleet sailed out to engage the Mongols, then feigned a retreat, luring the overconfident enemy deep into the trap. Just as the tide began to recede, the massive UN warships found themselves impaled, immobilized, and helpless. From their ambushes along the riverbanks, Tren Hung Dao's forces attacked with a storm of fire arrows, routing the world's most powerful navy and capturing its commander. It was a stunning victory that crushed the Mongols' ambition to conquer Southeast Asia, proving that in this bay, the landscape itself fights for its people. The same sheltered waters that made the bay a fortress also made it a sanctuary. For centuries, this protection allowed a unique culture to flourish, literally on the water. Floating fishing villages like Cua Van and Vung Vieng became self-contained worlds, with generations living their entire lives in harmony with the sea. Houses, schools, shops, and community centers were all afloat, tethered together in a resilient, close-knit society. But the currents of time change everything. In recent years, to provide better access to education, healthcare, and modern amenities, the government has relocated most families to the mainland. This is not a story of loss, but of complex adaptation. While the days of families living here year-round have passed, the soul of the villages remains. Today, they serve as living museums, where the descendants of the original fishing families return daily to fish, to guide visitors, and to share their priceless heritage. It's a testament to a culture's resilience, adapting to survive not just on the water, but in the memory of all who visit. Your journey to the Dragon's Lair. A traveler's guide, so you want to visit the Dragon's Lair? Getting there is part of the adventure. From Vietnam's capital, Hanoi, the 170-kilometer journey has an option for every style and budget. You can hop on a budget-friendly local bus for a 3 to 4 hour ride, or opt for a comfortable shuttle bus or limousine that zips you there in about 2.5 hours on the new expressway. For the ultimate splurge and a truly unforgettable perspective, a 45-minute seaplane flight offers jaw-dropping aerial views of the entire spectacle. Once you arrive, you face the traveler's most crucial dilemma: a day trip or an overnight cruise. A day trip gets you a fantastic taste of the bay in about 4 to 8 hours on the water. You'll see the main highlights: a famous cave, a panoramic viewpoint, a quick paddle, and it's perfect if you're short on time or budget. But an overnight cruise? That's when the bay truly reveals its magic. It allows you to escape the crowds, explore more remote corners, and witness the unforgettable spectacle of sunset and sunrise, painting the karsts in hues of fire and gold. It's the difference between seeing a masterpiece in a gallery and getting to live inside it for a day. Whichever you choose, there are a few experiences on the essential Ha Long bucket list. First, you have to get on the water. And I mean right on the water. Kayaking is the best way to get intimate with the landscape. There's nothing quite like paddling your own craft through a low-ceilinged sea cave, like the famous Luan Cave, and emerging into a hidden, sun-drenched lagoon, completely encircled by towering cliffs. It feels like discovering a lost world. Next, you need to get above it. A short but steep hike up the steps of Taitop Island rewards you with the iconic, panoramic photograph of Ha Long Bay. It's the money shot, the postcard view, and absolutely worth the climb. You can cool off afterwards with a swim at its small, crescent-shaped beach. And of course you have to meet the locals, or at least the most famous Rocky residents. This is Han Ga Choi, the Fighting Cock's Islet. These two rocks, leaning towards each other for millennia, have become the unofficial symbol of Ha Long Bay, representing faithful love and enduring resilience against the odds. But to truly know a place, you have to taste it. And Ha Long Bay's menu is written by the sea itself. This is a paradise for seafood lovers, with flavors that are fresh, bold, and unforgettable. Epilogue, protecting the dragon's legacy. A landscape forged over 500 million years can feel eternal, indestructible, but this paradise is fragile. The very popularity that made Ha Long Bay a global icon also presents its greatest threat. The pressures of mass tourism and local activities have taken a toll. At its peak, over 100 tons of garbage were being collected from the bay each month, a significant portion of it plastic and styrofoam waste from fishing and tourism. But the story of Ha Long Bay has always been one of resilience. And today, a new generation of guardians is rising to protect its legacy. This isn't a story of despair, it's a story of inspiring collaborative action. The change began from the top. In 2019, authorities implemented a ban on single-use plastics on all tourist boats, a crucial first step. But the real momentum is coming from the community itself. Responsible cruise operators, understanding that a pristine environment is their most valuable asset, have become leaders in conservation. Companies like Baja Cruises and Indochina Junk organize annual Clean the Bay events, uniting staff, local communities, and even competing travel agencies to clean remote beaches and collect data on pollution. This commitment has led to the Green Sails Initiative, an eco-tag awarded to cruises that meet high environmental standards, from installing advanced wastewater treatment systems to championing plastic-free operations. But perhaps the most powerful shift is the empowerment of the traveler. The best cruises are no longer just showing you the bay. They are inviting you to become part of its preservation. Through programs like the Green Sail Activity or Indochina Junk's Green Warrior Certificate, guests are encouraged to collect floating trash while kayaking, turning a simple activity into a meaningful act of stewardship. The legend tells of a dragon that descended to protect this land, but today, the bay doesn't need a mythical beast. It needs guardians. It needs us. To travel here is not just to witness a wonder of the world, but to accept a responsibility. To choose the cruise that invests in the community, to pick up that floating bottle on your kayak trip, to leave this place even more beautiful than you found it. The dragon has descended. Now it is our turn to rise.
We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals